Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is the next video wherein we are going to take a look on a problem. So it's a logical problem which you can do in any of the language which you are comfortable with. Let's suppose if you're comfortable with C language, C++, then you can go ahead and do that. It's just the logic that we're going to be discussing in this video. So I will be solving this problem in Java. So yeah, this particular Java is going to be more focusing on the Java concepts. So yeah, the problem, I will be mentioning the link in the description box so that you can have a look on the problem all by yourself. But in this video, we're going to be understanding the logic that how you can solve this particular problem, so that and basis on that, this video is for the beginners, right? And for the beginners who are just jumping into the Java and want to understand some new concepts, then yes, you can stick to this video and can learn some new concepts. But one thing is there that if you don't know loops, that how exactly the loops work, and you don't know that how if else condition works, then I would suggest you to just understand that those things first, and then you can come back to this video. That's how it's going to be easy for you to understand in a better way, because we are going to be majorly focusing upon the logic. So yes, if you just want to understand that how we can devise the new logic in a particular problem, then yes, you can just stick to this video. So without wasting further time, let's just get into the problem. So the problem is basically the robot return to origin. So it's just an easy problem, but we are going to be just making it a little moderate by adding some new concepts and adding some more, having some addition to the code and to the problem. So the problem is saying that there is a robot starting at the position origin, right? 0, 0 in a 2D plane. So this is the origin having the 0, 0 coordinates and given a sequence of its moves. So we are passing on some moves to that robot, and we need to judge if this robot ends up coming back to the origin after it completes its moves. So we are already having some moves given to this particular robot, and we are passing on those moves, and basis on that, robot is moving in the 2D plane, and we need to check at the end whether the robot has come back to the origin or not. So you are given a string has been given to this robot, because it's a coding language, so we are going to be giving the moves to the robot using the concept of string. So string is basically just a stream of characters. So we are giving four different letters to that robot as per the logic of string, which is R, L, U, D, right, left, up and down. And we need to store this value, and basis on that we need to check one by one what is the complete string, and basis on that we'll pass on the move to the robot, and basis on that we'll build the logic and give the instructions to robot. So return true if the robot is returning back to the origin, and false otherwise. So yes, this is the main problem. We will discuss more about the problem, and so let's do that first only. So yes, let's suppose this is your Cartesian product. This is your Cartesian plane, and this is your x-axis. This is your y-axis, right? So on the x-axis, and your robot is sitting originally at the origin position, which is your 0, 0 coordinates. So if the robot is moving towards the right hand side, so it's going to be on the positive x-axis, and left is going to be for the minus x-axis, up is for the positive y, and downwards is the negative y. So this means so what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be having two different integers, x and y. So if the robot is, if I'm getting the value as right, if I'm getting the value as r, so this means I have to increment the value of x by +1, right? And if my robot is moving towards the upside, I'm passing on the letter q. So this means I have to increment the value of by +1, and if it's moving downward side, then I have to just decrement the value by -1. So that's the logic is saying. And finally, if whatever the value that will be coming up for my x and y integer, basis on that I have to check it's coming back to 0, 0 or not. If both of the integers that I'm going to be just having in my code are having the value as 0, 0 at the end, then I can say that it's coming back to the origin depending upon the string that I'm passing to my robot. So that's the main logic, right? That's the main concept that I have to devise in this particular code. So the question is saying that the string has already been given. So this means that whatever the stream of characters that I'm passing on to robot is has already been given in the code. But what we're going to be adding on to this problem is that we will ask the user to enter the string. So this means the user is going to be entering the value. So what I will do is that I will ask the user to enter the move, and whatever LUDRDDU, and basically this is the string that my user is going to be entering, right? And I will be having two variables, x and y. So depending on the string, let's suppose it's the initial character is saying left, so that means I have to decrement the value of x by minus 1, right? And the other one is saying up, so that means I have to increment the value of y. So that's the main logic, and this is going to be done at the back end. So after evaluating all these variables, depending upon whatever the final value of x and y is coming up to be, I have to print the message as true or false. So that's the main logic that I have to use, and I can say that the robot has come back to its original positions, right? And yeah, so that's it for this particular question. Let me see if everything has been covered up in order to understand. Okay, so yeah, that's basically the logic that I have to use. If I'll just check whether the robot has come back to the original position. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is that, as the question is not demanding that thing, but I will just also be printing the coordinates. So it's just that I have to print the value of x and y, whatever the coordinates that my robot is going to be possessing at the end. So that means whatever the true or false, I just have to print the coordinates as well. And with addition to that, I will be also entering true or false, whatever the situation will be. So without wasting further time, let's just get into the code and we will try to implement the logic. So the problem is quite easy. It's just a logic building that you need to do. I hope I was able to explain you the logic. You can do it on your own if you have already understood the logic. But this particular code, I will be just doing it in Java language. That's what I'm more comfortable with. So okay. So the very first thing that we have to do is that we have to take the input from the user. So that means I have to import a library. For that, I will be using Java import.java.util.scanner, right? And basis on that, we will be taking and accepting the inputs from user. So for this scanner library that I have imported, I have to create the object for that. So that I can store some values over here. Okay, so this is the string so this is basically the I will have to accept the string, right? So this needs to be accepting the value is in strings, right? So what it's going to be doing is that, so as it's going to be, let's first of all just do it in a proper way. So we need to system.out.println. We will ask the user to just simply go ahead and enter the value of the string. So we'll just simply enter the move. So the user is going to be entering the move, and I need to store that particular value. Okay, so move, and then I will be doing one thing. So as I'm going to be asking the user to enter the string, so that means I have to use this. Okay, so all right. So as of now, we have only asked the user to enter the move, and we are just taking that string in the object called as move. So this is the object that I have created over here. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to take this string and we have to analyze that, how exactly it is and what exactly the movement that we need to pass on to our robot. So for that thing, in order to check all those functionalities, all those particular moves, I will be creating a new class wherein I will be doing the backend work. So backend work is going to be my class wherein I will be checking that what exactly this particular string is saying. So that means I have to create a function over here, and my function will be Boolean check. So you need to understand that why I have mentioned the return type as Boolean, because at the end, whatever the move it's going to be doing, I have to return the value as true or false, right? So that's the main question is saying. And as I'm going to be accepting the string, so that means I will be creating a variable over here having the data type as string, right? So this is the string that I'm accepting. Okay, so I need to pass this particular string which I've got from the user to this function. So that means I have to create an object for this backend class. So my backend class is having an object called as obj, which I will be using so as to pass on my string. So backend new, okay. So the object has been created for this particular backend. Okay, let me remove this. All right. So what I'll do is that I will be calling my check function. Okay, so it's just messing up. Let me do it one by one. So what I've done over here, you need to understand this particular part. So move is basically the object for the scanner class, right? Scanner, wherein I will be just taking the input from the user. So move.nextLine has to be passed to this particular function where I'll be just writing all my logics so that I can check whether how exactly the robot is moving. So move.nextLine has been passed to this check function, right? And what I am also doing is, okay, obj.check has been used so as to call this particular function. And now the next thing I need to do is okay, so this function has been called over here, so this means it also needs to have some return type, because it's gonna be returning some value, right? And I need to print that first. Okay, so Boolean is something which I need to print, and for that I need to create a variable. So I will be creating a variable which is called as status, which is gonna be just letting me know how exactly my variable. So that's gonna be just printing out the message true or false depending upon the return type, depending upon the return value that I will get from the check function. So yes, it's going to be string, and the function is going to be returning the value as Boolean. So that means I need to change the value which I am getting from my check function to string. So how do I do that? So this is something which you need to keep a note of, that I will be using a complete different method over here, by which way I am changing the value which I am getting from this particular check function. So I am getting the value as this. Okay. So firstly, I have over here move.nextLine is going to be accepting the value as string from my user, and I'm passing on that value to obj.check. I'm calling this check function and passing this string to that function, and in return of that I'm accepting the Boolean value, and I'm passing that Boolean value to string.value of, which is converting the message that I'm getting true or false to string, and I'm storing this value, that return value, to status. Status is also my new variable which is in the main function. So this particular value is gonna be just stored into the variable called as status. So I also gonna be doing one thing over here, and what I'm gonna be doing is that I'm gonna be just printing that how exactly my robot has moved. Status of the movement is gonna be something which I need to print over here. And how do I do that? So I will be just printing the value status over here by having this particular variable. I'm just entering status of the movement plus status. So that's what I've done over here. That's the main function that has been already been defined and everything has been set up over here. Now we have to work on our backend function, which is the check function. So what I'm doing over here, so I'm accepting the value. Okay, so let's do it one by one. So I'm just basically, accepting this string from a main function to this variable string move, right? And what I need to do, so it is possible, right? It is possible that my user is completely naive and he don't know how to enter the string. So he might enter LDUR in lower cases, or he may also enter, if the user is quite professional and he knows what and how to do, so he may also enter the string with capital LDUR. So in order to rectify this kind of a problem, what I need to do, I can do one thing over here, that whatever the string that I'm accepting, whatever the string that I'm getting from my main function from my user, I can convert that string to the uppercase, right? So that I can just simply go ahead and check that only. Otherwise, it's going to give me error. I have to create a separate logic for the lower cases and for the upper cases. So in order to rectify that problem, I will be just converting that whatever the move that I'm getting over here, and I can just convert it into the move to dot to uppercase. So this is something I can do, right? And I can just simply mention it over here that whatever the move that I'm accepting from my user, I can convert that to uppercases. So this is something that has been done, right? And let's proceed further. So in order to check the movement, I also need to have some thing called as two variable, which is int x and y, so that I can update I can update the value of the movement, right? I can update the coordinates. So all right, so that particular part has been done, and let's proceed further, and basis on that we will just, okay, so whatever the string that I'm getting from my user has been converted to uppercase. So now what I need to do, so let's proceed, let's try to understand. So this string has already been stored in uppercases, whatever the value that I'm getting, whether it's the lowercase and the uppercase. So what I need to do next is that I need to check my string one by one. I need to check the characters. I need to check the characters one by one. So what that means is that I have to convert this string to something called as character. So I can just go ahead and point out individual character of my string. So how do I do that? So let's do one thing over here first. Let's try to build the loop, and then we will check move dot. So I need to work till the length of my string. So just take a close look over here what I've done. So this is basically called as a for loop, right? So I will be using the for loop so as to point out all the characters that are there in the string, right? So move dot length is going to be, so this particular for loop is going to be work until the last character of my string. So that means, so what that means is that, okay, all right, so this is something which we're going to be doing, is that I will be working till the length of my I need to do like this. Okay, let me just give it a check. Okay, so move dot length is going to be going to be stopping my for loop until the last character is gonna checked. So this is my for loop, and next thing I'm going to be doing is that I have to create a character that's going to be checking my values over here. So this is my for loop, and my check value variable is going to be storing the values of my string, which is move, and I need to pass on the values as I. So let's do one thing over here and try to understand what we are doing. So this means I'm getting this error over here. I will explain you what exactly I'm trying to do. So this means I'm trying to run my loop this is called as my for loop, right? And I'm gonna be working on my loop till the last character which is there, which has been accepted from the user. I need to check all these characters, and basis on that I will be passing on the move to my robot. So this is the string that has been passed, and one by one I need to check this particular character. So what that means is that what I'm trying to do, I'm working on a for loop. It's going to be working till the end of my last character which is there in the string. So I'm going to be pointing out each of the values. So the very first is going to be having the 0th value, the second one is the 1, and the third one is having the value as 2, right? So I will be checking all the values. So it's going to be working from 0, 1, 2, and it's going to be checking, it's going to be storing those values to my check value so that I can go ahead and check that. So this is called as my string, right? Move is my string, and this is I is the variable which is pointing on my character. But this is something which don't work, right? I have to use a separate function for that. And how do I do that? Java is basically having a very intelligent method by which way I can point out the value of my string. So I need to point out at the character. So it's char at position is ith position of my string is going to be passed on to my check value character variable. So the check value has been already passed. So this means now what I can do is that I can compare the check value, that whether this is U, and if it is U, then what I can do is that it's moving upside, right? It's moving upside. So what I need to do, I need to increment the value of y variable by +1. That's what I need to do. And okay, so I'm getting the error over here while I'm incrementing the value of y. So why exactly I'm doing that? Because I haven't initialized my variables. So once I have initialized my variables, because the original position is going to be 0, 0 if I'm getting some string, right? Okay, so now what I can do is that I can just simply copy paste this particular condition, because I have to check 4 different conditions, and basis on that I have to work upon. So what that means is that I will be passing on the condition for all of my different movements that I need to check: up, down, left, right. So these are the 4 conditions that I need to check, right? And I can pass on the condition over here, check value, and for upside movement I need to increment the value of y by ++, and for the downside movement I need to just decrement the value over here, and for the left side I need to change the value of x by -, and for the right hand side movement I need to increment the value of x by ++. So that means all of the conditions has been just mentioned over here, and now what I need to do is that I have to print the messages. So this particular, okay, so there is one thing I need to make sure. So this is basically the condition I need to mention, that if, so this is basically, these are the only 4 conditions that we can accept from the user, right? Otherwise the code is not gonna work, right? So other than that, if the user is entering any other string, let's suppose the user is entering the message as some garbage value, right? LIKHVC. So I need to just print out the message over here that please enter the valid move. Otherwise my code should not work, right? So this is something I need to make sure. And if this particular condition has been met, right, if the user is entering some garbage value, then what I can do is that I can just simply go ahead and exit from my code. I don't need to check, or I don't need to work anymore, right, for this particular code. So this is what the condition I need to mention over here. So once all of the conditions are mentioned over here, so what next I need to do? So basis upon this particular logic which will be working over here, I have to just give it a check. So now I have to mention the if condition once again, and this time I need to mention the if condition is that if my x equals to 0 and y is also equals to 0, then what I can do is that I can just return the value as true, right? Because this is something this is what we are doing, right, in this particular code. And also, let me just do one thing over here. I also need to mention the else condition, because otherwise the code should be just giving and returning the value as false. Okay, else return false, right? This is something which we have to do. And also, so as the complete logic has been defined as of now, what next, what else is remaining over here? My condition has been checked, x equals to 0 0, and y has been defined. What else is left? Okay, so I just need to do one thing over here, as already I believe that most of the things has already been done. The only thing that I need to do is that I need to print out I need to just print the coordinates. So this time I will be using a different function. I will be using a different command over here, which is system.printf, because this time I need to enter the coordinates over here. So the coordinates has to be like having two different variables. So for that thing I will be using something else, which is called as, okay. So this is basically the concept of, if you already know that we have used this particular concept in C language, right? When we pass on and we want to print some variables, then we need to use the printf function, right? Printf is basically something used when we want to print some different values in so yeah, if you want to print some multiple variables, which is I want to print x and y, so that's the reason I'm using this system.printf. Otherwise so that's the reason I'm using this particular thing over here. All right, so I believe most of the things has been done. I've also entered, I think I'm missing something over here. Okay, so I did not close this. Coordinates colon next line, because okay, I think I'm doing something. Okay, so the next line has to be done over here so that I will get the proper coordinates. Okay, let's do one thing. So the coordinates has been printed, and let's see if we are just not missing out any other thing. So the condition is mentioned over here, else condition is also been there, like if the message is gonna be, you know, just false. And most of the things are done over here. Status has been printed, and true and falses has been mentioned over here, that how do we need to, and the coordinates are also mentioned. So let's try to run this code now, and let's see how we are getting the values. So let me show you the garbage value first, and basis on that, so then the code is asking for me to enter the value, right? And I'm just entering some garbage value over here and see the output. I am getting the error now. Okay, so let's see why exactly are we receiving the error as of now. So boolean, okay, string move, let's see what's the error. This method must have a return type. Okay, so the return type has been mentioned. Let's see if we are able to solve this particular problem or not. So the status has been updated, string.value off, and so the boolean check. Okay, I believe that I have missed something over here, the class and the return. So the return false is mentioned over here, and I guess I don't need to do that. If x is equals to 0 and y, I need to return the value as true, otherwise return false. and this is particularly done. What's the problem that I'm getting? Check. The check is actually returning the value, and I'm not able to understand why exactly I'm getting this error. Okay, so let's try to do one thing over here. This for loop is working properly. Let's try to check all the... Okay, this is the error that I am doing over here. Okay, so I have missed just one bracket, and this particular thing, my boolean function has to be closed by here. This is for the class. Okay, now it should be working. Okay, yeah, so I just missed out one particular curly bracket, and that's the reason I was getting that error, because it was not able to understand where the function is closing, where the function is ending, where the method is ending, and where and how the return type is working. So I've just entered the garbage value over here, and let's see. So it's saying please enter the valid move status of the movement is false. So now what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be just entering some proper values. So this time I'm entering LD, UR, RUD, L. So these are the proper inputs, right? Left, down, up, right, right, up, down, left. Okay, now I'm getting the error. So this is amazing, right? I have worked on this particular code like many of the times, but this time while I am trying to just make the code, I am getting the error. I believe I need to do one thing here. Okay, so let's try to run the code once again. Okay, so this time I will be doing left, down, up, right. Here are the coordinates. So this means I have left, down, up, right. So that means I moved towards the left side once, down once, came back to upper side, and then again moved to the right side. So that means I'm coming back to the origin, and here are the coordinates that it is saying 0, 0, and the status of the movement is true. So this means the code is working absolutely fine. And the error that I was doing is that move.length. So that means this is something which I have to make sure that I'm not going to be using equals to, less than, or equals to. I have to just use the less than, because it's going to be pointing out to the integer value. Okay, so let's suppose if I'm entering five letters, so that means it's going to be having the value as 5. So that means I have to start from the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th is going to be the last value. So I don't need to just to accept that value. So that's the reason I was getting the error. So let's do one thing over here. I think I missed the space over here. I'll just make this as a proper one. And the status of the movement, I also gonna be doing one thing. I will be passing on some next new line character so that it's gonna be working properly. Okay, so let's do one thing over here. Let's try to pass on one more string so that we can have just the proper understanding. So left, right, down, up, down, right, up, down. So just this random value that I'm passing on, and hit the enter. So here are the coordinates. The coordinates that I'm getting is the 1 and the -1. So let's see if it is working properly. And this is saying status of the movement is false. So left, right, down, up, coming back to origin, down, right, up, down. So that means I'm going to the 1 and -1. I'm on the 4th quadrant. Right hand side is the +1 and towards the downside. So that means it's working properly fine, and that's the main thing. That's what we want, right? Alright guys, so I believe the code is quite interesting, and you can play with that. It's you can just go ahead and make some new changes. You can add something else if you want to. It's pretty interesting, right? If you get your code working, though the problem is quite easy and it's just one of the beginner problem, but yes, the logic was quite interesting. You can make some more changes. Let's suppose So what else we can do in this code, right? Let's try to see if we have to expand and if we have to enhance the code. Okay, I guess there is nothing much that can be done because we have already made the changes and we have already done most of the things. But yes, if you have something in your mind, you can just enter that in the comment box so that I can also have a look, and basis on that I will also try to make some changes in this code. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it in this code. I believe the video has been already quite long as of now. So let's just come back to the endpoint, and that's, I will mention everything in the description box, the link of the problem as well as the code that I've entered over here, so that you can have a look, and basis on that you can just try to run at your end as well. Alright guys, so thanks for watching the video and thanks for your time, and see you next time. We will see with some more codes and some more things. Alright, thanks for watching video. Goodbye.